You're standing in a gas station. It's a Tuesday night. You're buying a bag of chips and a drink because you just got off a 10-hour shift and you don't feel like cooking. You can't afford to eat out. You haven't been able to afford to eat out in months. Your rent went up again in January. Your car needs new brakes, but new brakes cost $400, so you just press harder and hope. You have $263 in your checking account. It's the 19th of the month. You do the math every time you buy something. The chips are $4.29. The drink is $2.19. You can afford that. Barely. The lottery is at $400 million. You don't usually play. You tell yourself it's a tax on people who are bad at math. But tonight, you feel something. Not hope. Something more desperate than hope. The feeling you get when you're drowning and someone throws a rope that's clearly too short, but you reach for it anyway. You hand the cashier $2 you shouldn't be spending and say, "Give me a quick pick." She prints the ticket without looking at you. Nobody in this gas station looks at you. You are invisible in the way that broke people are invisible. You fold the ticket into your wallet between a gas receipt and an old gift card that probably has nothing on it. You forget about it. You go home to an apartment with a leak in the ceiling that your landlord won't fix. You eat your chips on the couch while watching a show you've already seen twice because you canceled every streaming service except one. You fall asleep with the TV on. The ticket sits in your wallet on the kitchen counter all night. It doesn't know what it is yet. Neither do you. 2 days later, you're sitting on your couch scrolling your phone and you see the numbers. You look at your ticket. You look at the phone. You look at the ticket again. Your hands are shaking. Your vision narrows to a small tunnel. And at the end of that tunnel are 6 numbers that match all 6. You don't scream. You don't jump. You sit very still for a long time. Your brain is doing something it has never done before. It is trying to process a number so large that it has no framework for it. $412 million before taxes. You say the number out loud, and it sounds fake. It sounds like something from a movie. You are holding a piece of paper worth more than you would have earned in 10,000 years at your current job. You don't sleep that night. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling running calculations you're not qualified to run. You hide the ticket in a book on your shelf. Then you move it to a Ziploc bag in your freezer. Then you take it out and put it in your glove box. Then you bring it back inside. You are terrified of losing a piece of paper. You have never been terrified of losing a piece of paper before. The next morning, you call in sick to work. You Google what to do when you win the lottery. The first result says, get a lawyer before you do anything else. The second result says, don't tell anyone. The third result is a list of lottery winners who went broke, got murdered, or killed themselves. You close the browser. You sit in your kitchen. You are a millionaire who is afraid to leave the house. You need a lawyer. Not your cousin who does real estate closings. Not the guy from the billboard on the highway. You need a specific kind of attorney, one who handles high net worth estates, trusts, and asset protection. You find one in the city. His office is on the 22nd floor of a building you've never been inside. He charges $600 an hour. 2 weeks ago, that number would have made you dizzy. Now it's meaningless. You sign a retainer, and he starts talking about things you've never heard of. Revocable trusts, irrevocable trusts, LLC structures, blind trusts, charitable remainder trusts, family limited partnerships. He draws diagrams on a whiteboard, and you nod like you understand. You understand about 30% of it. The part you understand is this. If you walk into the lottery office as yourself, your life is over. Your name becomes public record in most states. Reporters will show up at your house. Strangers will show up at your house. People you haven't spoken to in 15 years will show up at your house. Your attorney sets up a trust. The trust claims the prize. Your name stays out of the headlines, at least for now. You go to the lottery commission office with your attorney. The building is underwhelming. Drop ceiling tiles and government carpet. A woman behind a desk scans your ticket and her expression doesn't change. She's seen this before. You fill out paperwork for 2 hours. You choose the lump sum. Everyone chooses the lump sum. $412 million becomes $260 million after the lump sum discount. Then federal taxes take 37%. State taxes take another 6% to 8% depending on where you live. Your $412 million is now roughly $118 million. Your attorney told you this would happen. It still feels like being robbed. You are angry about losing $294 million that you had for approximately 72 hours. You have become the kind of person who is upset about only having $118 million. That transformation took less than a week. The money hits your account. You see the number on a screen, and it doesn't look real. It looks like a typo. It looks like someone accidentally added too many zeros, but it's there. And now everyone knows. You told 3 people, your mother, your brother, and your best friend. You told them not to tell anyone. Your mother told her sister. Her sister told her church group. Your brother told his wife. His wife posted something vague on social media about blessings and abundance that might as well have been a press release. Your best friend told no one. You will remember that. Your phone starts ringing. Numbers you don't recognize. People you haven't heard from since high school. A cousin you met once at a funeral. Your ex from 7 years ago. A coworker's husband who has a great business opportunity he'd love to discuss. They all want something. None of them say that directly. They say, congratulations. They say, I'm so happy for you. They say, you deserve this. Then they pause and wait for you to offer. Some of them don't wait. Some of them just ask, can you pay off my student loans? Can you help with my mom's medical bills? Can you invest in my restaurant? Can you buy me a car? The requests are endless. Some of them are heartbreaking. Some of them are shameless. All of them come with the unspoken assumption that you now owe the world something because the world gave you something. You start screening your calls. You change your number. You stop going to the places you used to go because every interaction now has an undercurrent of money. You go to your usual bar on a Friday night, and the bartender who used to joke with you treats you differently. He's nicer. Too nice. Careful. Like you're a customer now instead of a regular. The guys at the pool table look at you, and you can see the math happening behind their eyes. You leave early, and you don't go back. The mail gets worse. Handwritten letters from strangers telling you their stories. A woman in another state says her son needs a kidney transplant and insurance won't cover it. A man writes 4 pages about how he lost his house in a fire and just needs $30,000 to start over. A church you've never attended sends a brochure about their building fund with a handwritten note that says, God put you in a position to help. You read every letter because you can't stop yourself. Each one is a small wound. You throw them away and feel guilty. You keep them and feel overwhelmed. There is no correct response. You are the same person you were a month ago, and nobody believes that, including you. You buy a house. Not the house you need, the house you dreamed about when you were broke and scrolling real estate listings at 2 a.m. for fun. 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, a pool, a 3-car garage, a kitchen bigger than your old apartment. You walk through it on the first night, and your footsteps echo. It's too quiet. It's too big. You will never use the formal dining room. You will never use the guest wing. You bought a monument to a fantasy you had when you couldn't afford it. Now that you can, it just feels empty. You buy cars. A Mercedes for yourself, a truck because you've always wanted one, an SUV for your mother. You buy clothes from stores where a single jacket costs more than your old monthly rent. You buy watches, electronics, furniture, art you don't understand, but someone told you was a good investment. You fly first class for the first time. The seat reclines into a bed. The flight attendant calls you by name. You eat steak at 35,000 feet and drink champagne that costs more per bottle than your old car payment. You land, and a black car is waiting for you. You stay in hotels that charge $800 a night for the regular room and $3,000 for the suite. You get the suite. You eat at restaurants where the menu doesn't list prices because the kind of people who eat there don't ask. The spending feels earned. You spent 15 years working jobs that broke your body and bored your mind. You earned the right to live like this. That's what you tell yourself. The problem is that earned spending and compulsive spending feel exactly the same. The dopamine hit from buying a $200,000 car lasts about 3 days. Then it's just a car. Then you want the next thing. Each purchase gives you less than the one before, but costs the same or more. You are chasing a feeling that the money promised but can't deliver. You are spending money at a rate that feels sustainable because the number in your account is so large that your brain can't process it shrinking. A $200,000 car feels like nothing against $118 million. A $50,000 weekend feels like pocket change. But the math is working against you in ways you don't see yet. Financial advisors will later explain a concept called lifestyle inflation. It means your spending expands to match your wealth and then exceeds it. You're not there yet, but the trajectory is set. Your attorney introduces you to a wealth management firm. These are people who manage money for a living. They wear expensive suits and talk about portfolios and diversification and risk-adjusted returns. They show you charts. They recommend a mix of index funds, bonds, real estate, and alternative investments. They tell you that if you invest conservatively and spend modestly, your $118 million will generate $4 to $5 million a year in passive income forever. You will never need to work again. Your children will never need to work. Your grandchildren will never need to work. You listen. You nod. You invest some of it the way they recommend. But then your brother-in-law pitches you a restaurant. Your college roommate wants you to fund his tech startup. A guy you met at a party says he's developing beachfront property in Costa Rica, and the returns are incredible. You invest in all of them. You invest because saying yes is easier than saying no. You invest because being the guy who funds things makes you feel important in a way that just having money doesn't. The restaurant closes in 14 months. The tech startup never launches a product. The Costa Rica deal turns out to be a borderline scam. You lose $3.2 million on investments that a professional would have dismissed in 5 minutes. Your wealth managers warned you. You didn't listen. You thought having money meant you understood money. Those are two completely different things. You learn this lesson the way most lottery winners learn it. Slowly, expensively, and too late to matter. You start giving. At first, it feels good. You pay off your mother's house. You set up a college fund for your nieces and nephews. You donate to the children's hospital in your hometown. You write checks to charities whose missions you believe in. You feel like you're doing something meaningful with this money, like it has a purpose now. The local paper writes a story about your generosity. People call you a hero. Then the requests multiply. Every charity in the state has your name on a list. Galas and dinners and fundraising events fill your calendar. Organizations you've never heard of send you proposals. You sit at a black tie event next to a woman who runs a homeless shelter. She says they need $200,000 to keep the doors open through winter. You write the check that night. The next morning, 3 more organizations contact you because word got out. Strangers write you letters describing their situations in detail that makes you unable to sleep. A single mother with cancer. A veteran who lost his house. A teenager who needs surgery his family can't afford. Every story is real. Every need is genuine, and you can help. That's the part that breaks you. You can actually help. So you do. You help until helping starts to feel like an obligation. You help until the joy of giving is replaced by the guilt of not giving enough. You help until you realize something that no one tells you. No amount of money can fix the amount of suffering that exists in the world. Trying will drain you emotionally long before it drains you financially. You hire a foundation director to manage the giving. You create a process. Applications, reviews, decisions made by committee. It's more efficient. It's also cold. You went from writing personal checks to running a bureaucracy. 3 years have passed since you won. You live in a house behind a gate. You drive cars that separate you from the world behind tinted glass. You eat at private clubs where membership costs more than most people's salaries. Your social circle has contracted to a small group of people who either have money themselves or who are paid to be around you. Your financial advisor, your attorney, your accountant, your personal assistant, your trainer. These are your daily contacts. These are the people who answer when you call. You trust them because you pay them. You're not sure you trust anyone you don't pay. Your old friends are gone. Not all at once. It happened gradually. You paid for every dinner, every trip, every bar tab. They let you because it felt awkward to split the check with a millionaire. Then it felt awkward to be around you at all. The money created a distance that neither side knew how to close. You didn't change. They didn't change. The money changed the space between you. Your brother doesn't call anymore. You gave him $500,000 to start a business, and it failed. He blames you for not giving more. He says you could have saved it if you'd invested more. You say you gave him $500,000. Both of you are right. Both of you are hurt. Neither of you will say it. You date, but it's different now. You meet someone, and the first thing you wonder is whether they Googled you, whether they know about the money. You take a woman to dinner, and she orders the most expensive thing on the menu. You can't tell if that's just what she wanted or if she's testing you. You go on 3 dates with someone who seems genuine. Then her roommate mentions your net worth at brunch, and you realize she knew the whole time. You stop dating for a while. You tell yourself it's by choice. You start seeing a therapist. She costs $400 an hour, and she's worth every penny. You sit in her office and talk about loneliness to a woman you are paying to listen. She doesn't judge you. She can't. You pay her not to. You realize one day that you are surrounded by services and transactions where you used to be surrounded by relationships. Everything in your life has a price tag now. Even the things that aren't supposed to. Someone tries to sue you. A man claims he slipped on your driveway during a party you hosted. He wants $2 million. The case is frivolous. Your attorney makes it go away, but it costs you $80,000 in legal fees and 6 months of stress. 2 months later, someone else sues you. A business partner from one of your failed investments claims you owed him a larger share. That case takes a year. You settle for $400,000 because going to trial would cost more. Your attorney tells you this is normal for people in your position. People with money are targets for litigation. It's an industry. There are attorneys who specialize in finding wealthy defendants and building cases that are cheaper to settle than to fight. You are now permanently on that list. You will be sued again. It's not a question of whether. It's a question of when and for how much. You install a security system, cameras on every corner of your property, motion sensors, a reinforced front door. You hire a security consultant who walks through your house and points out vulnerabilities you never considered. Ground floor windows. The gap between the fence and the tree line. The fact that your daily routine is predictable. He recommends a full-time security guard. You hesitate, then you hire one. You now have a stranger standing in your driveway 12 hours a day to protect you from other strangers. You receive threats, most of them vague. Emails from people you don't know, saying they know where you live. A letter with no return address that describes your car and your morning routine. Your security consultant says most of these are harmless. Most, not all. You bought a new life with that ticket. Part of that new life is looking over your shoulder every time you walk to your car. 5 years in. You sit down with your wealth manager for the annual review. Your $118 million is now $41 million. You stare at the number. You blink. You ask him to repeat it. $41 million. You've spent $77 million in 5 years. The houses, the cars, the failed investments, the lawsuits, the gifts, the donations, the lifestyle, the taxes on the lifestyle. Your wealth manager shows you a projection. At this rate, you will be completely out of liquid assets in 4 years. You don't believe him. The number is too big to disappear. $41 million is still a fortune. People work their entire lives and never see a fraction of that. But you're not spending like someone with $41 million. You're spending like someone with $118 million. The habits are locked in. The houses have mortgages and property taxes. The cars have insurance and maintenance. The staff has salaries. The foundation has commitments. The lifestyle has a monthly cost that would bankrupt most small businesses. You try to cut. You sell the vacation house at a loss because the market turned. You let the security guard go. You cancel the personal assistant, but you can't sell the main house because you're underwater on it. You bought it at the peak and the value dropped. You owe more than it's worth. Your accountant tells you about something called a tax liability from a real estate deal 2 years ago that was structured incorrectly. You owe the IRS $2.8 million in back taxes plus penalties plus interest. You didn't know. You trusted the people you hired to know. They didn't know either. Or they did and didn't tell you. You fire your accountant. You hire a new one. He finds more problems. The foundation was mismanaged. Funds were misallocated. There are compliance issues that could trigger an audit. Every layer you peel back reveals another layer of rot underneath. You built a financial empire on a foundation of ignorance and trust. Both are crumbling. The people around you start to leave. Not all at once. The financial advisor who managed your money takes a position at another firm. He sends a polite email. Your attorney refers you to a junior partner because your account isn't large enough to justify his hourly rate anymore. The trainer stops returning your calls. The people who were paid to be in your life are leaving because the pay is getting uncertain. You are watching the infrastructure of your new life dismantle itself piece by piece. And underneath it, there's nothing. No old friends to call, no job to go back to, no skills that the market values. You haven't worked in 5 years. Your resume has a gap the size of a canyon. You are 40 years old, and you are watching $118 million turn into nothing, and you don't know how to stop it, but it's been 8 years since you won. The money is gone. Not mostly gone. The last of it went to the IRS, to attorneys, to settlements, to debts you accumulated trying to maintain a lifestyle that was already dead. You sold the house at a loss. You sold the cars. You sold the watches and the art and the furniture. Everything you bought with joy, you sold with desperation. The numbers on the way down hit different than the numbers on the way up. You rent an apartment now. It's smaller than the apartment you had before you won. You drive a used car with 90,000 miles on it. You work at a distribution warehouse because it was the first place that called you back. You stand on a concrete floor for 9 hours a day sorting packages. Your back hurts. Your knees hurt. You were doing the same kind of work you did before the ticket, except now you're doing it at 42 instead of 35. And your body knows the difference. Your coworkers don't know about the money. You don't tell them. When someone at the warehouse mentions the lottery and says what they'd do if they won, you say nothing. You just keep sorting packages. Your mother's house is still paid off. That's the one thing you don't regret. But she doesn't look at you the same way. She watched you rise and fall in less than a decade. She watched you become someone she didn't recognize, and then become someone she recognized but couldn't help. She loves you. She's also afraid for you in a way she wasn't before. Before the money, you were steady. You were struggling, but you were steady. Now she can see something behind your eyes that wasn't there before. A tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. Your brother still doesn't talk to you. The $500,000 you gave him wasn't enough. Then the money ran out, and you couldn't give more. He took that personally. He told your mother you were selfish. You heard that through the family, and it sat in your chest like a stone. You gave away millions. You gave until you had nothing. And the word your own brother uses is selfish. Your best friend, the one who never told anyone, still answers when you call. He's the only one. He doesn't bring up the money. He never does. You sit in his living room on a Sunday watching football, and it almost feels normal. Almost. But there's a gap now. He owns his home. He has a retirement account. He has the life that steady work and careful decisions build over time. You had that trajectory once. The ticket knocked you off it, and you never found your way back. You owe the IRS $340,000 in remaining penalties. You are on a payment plan. You file your taxes every year now with the attentiveness of someone who has been burned. Your credit score is in the low 500s. You cannot get a credit card. You cannot finance a car. You cannot rent a decent apartment without a cosigner. You are in worse financial shape than you were before you won. Before the ticket, you had $23,000 in debt and a job that covered it. Now you have 6 figures in debt and a job that barely covers rent. You went from poor to rich to poor again. Except the second time is worse because you know what you lost. The first time you were poor, you didn't know any better. This time you do. You know what first class feels like. You know what it feels like to walk into a restaurant and not look at prices. You know what it's like to have people return your calls within minutes. That knowledge is its own kind of torture. You can't unlearn what money felt like. You can only live without it and remember. You drive past the gas station sometimes, the one where you bought the ticket. It looks the same. Same fluorescent lights, same rack of lottery tickets behind the counter. You watch people walk in and buy their quick picks and walk out with that little spark of hope folded into their wallets. You want to tell them something. You want to walk in and grab them by the shoulders and say something true. But what would you say? Don't play. They wouldn't listen. Be careful what you wish for. They'd laugh at you. You'd sound like a lunatic. A broke man in a used car telling strangers not to wish for money. They'd look at you with pity. And the worst part is you deserve it. The truth is there's nothing you could say that would prepare them. The money is the easiest part. The money is simple. It's everything the money does to the world around you that nobody warns you about. The way it rearranges every relationship. The way it replaces trust with transactions. The way it gives you everything you ever wanted and takes away things you didn't know you needed. And then the money leaves, too. And you're standing in the wreckage of a life you blew up with your own hands, holding the receipt. Somewhere right now, someone is standing at a gas station counter. They're handing over $2 for a quick pick ticket. They're imagining the house, the car, the freedom, the look on their mother's face. They're imagining a life without worry. They have no idea what they're really wishing for. They have no idea that the ticket in their hand is not a gift. It's a fuse, and everything it touches will eventually burn. They'll figure it out. They always do. The cycle continues.